his way for that rebound. Erving on a move.
Here he comes. We rock the baby to sleep and slam dunk. And yet another Laker turnover.
Mavericks. Julius will get the last try off from just beyond half court. He got it! A three-pointer! Julius Erving has won the game!
It's 89-84. Sixers, and they get inside. Unbelievable! Julius Erving penetrating underneath.
Julius Erving was a small forward, but as he said in a 2011 interview with the New York Times, he really played more like a power forward. He was known for dominating the paint, constantly attacking the rim, and going over big men to score. Here's what he had to say. The guys my size, 6'7", play outside more, and they have the ball a lot more. I was a small forward, but I really played like a power forward. A lot of the 30,000 points that I scored was really like a power forward going over big guys. I don't see players doing that much anymore. What Dr. J is touching on here is that modern forwards tend to play more on the perimeter than they did during his era. Today's forwards are expected to shoot from distance, dribble like guards, and stretch the floor. Think of guys like LeBron James and Kevin Durant, who can handle the ball and hit jump shots. But Dr. J was a different breed. His game revolved around attacking the basket and playing physically in the paint, despite being listed as a small forward. Now, let's imagine Dr. J playing in today's NBA. If we were coming into the league now, there's no doubt he would still dominate, but his role might be a little different. Given his size, athleticism, and skill set, he'd probably be more like a modern day power forward. When we think of comparisons to Dr. J in today's game, a couple of names immediately come to mind. Zion Williamson and Giannis Antetokounmpo both have the explosiveness. Both of these guys rely heavily on their freakish athleticism to dominate inside the paint, which is exactly how Dr. J played during his prime. Zion and Giannis are both known for finishing with power, attacking the rim at will, and scoring over defenders. And just like Dr. J, they're not afraid to take on bigger guys in the post. But let's not forget that Dr. J was ahead of his time in terms of flair and fast-paced play. He thrived in transition, and he could glide down the court like nobody else had ever seen at that time. If you're looking for a player today who has that same ability to glide and finish at the rim, look no further than someone of the makeup like Andrew Wiggins. Now, while Wiggins might not be on Dr. J's level in terms of greatness, the comparison makes sense when you watch Wiggins' athleticism and his ability to finish slithery layups, similar to Dr. J's finesse around the basket. What's even more interesting is that Dr. J's influence extended far beyond just his stats and highlights. Players like Michael Jordan often credit Dr. J for inspiring them, and MJ even stole his moves. Early career MJ in particular played with a lot of Dr. J's characteristics, attacking the basket with explosive athleticism, finishing with style, and using those iconic long strides to outmaneuver defenders. You could say that without Dr. J, we might not have ever seen the same version of Michael Jordan that we know today. Another great comparison is Clyde Drexler. Both Drexler and Dr. J were top-notch scorers with smooth, graceful moves. While Dr. J was arguably better, Drexler also had that gliding ability, and both players scored with finesse rather than sheer power. They weren't dunking machines like Dominique Wilkin or Zion Williamson. Instead, they had that elegant, airborne quality that made their plays so unique. But let's not forget about Dr. J's explosiveness and cut him short. He could elevate with power, and his long strides gave him unique angles when he attacked the rim. His hands were massive, and it seemed like he could palm the ball like it was a loaf of bread, giving him incredible control when finishing. We've all seen the famous layup. This ability made him almost unstoppable around the basket. If you're thinking about other players who had that same kind of explosiveness, two players come to mind immediately. A young Shawn Kemp and even Kobe Bryant in his early years. Now, Kemp was more of a power player and Kobe was more of a polished scorer, but both had moments where they finished around the rim with a level of explosiveness that reminds me of Dr. J. But still, no one quite did it like the Doctor. So what adjustments would Dr. J need to make if he were playing in the modern NBA? Well, one area where he might need to refine his game would absolutely be his shooting. While Dr. J did develop a respectable jump shot later in his career, it wasn't his primary weapon, or really a weapon many forwards used in that time. In today's NBA, being a forward who can shoot from distance is almost a requirement, especially with how teams rely on three-point shooting. But even with that said, if Dr. J could improve his jumper and become more of a threat from beyond the arc, he'd easily be a star in today's league as well. His athleticism and finishing ability would translate perfectly, and with the modern NBA's emphasis on fast-paced open court play, he'd likely thrive just as he did during his prime. At the end of the day, Dr. J was truly one of a kind. He had a combination of size, athleticism, skill, and style that made him stand out, even in an era where flair wasn't always celebrated. He was ahead of his time, and players like Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler, and Dominique Wilkins all owe a bit of their game to the Doctor. So, could Dr. J dominate in today's NBA? Absolutely, according to me. His athleticism, finishing ability, and flair would make him a perfect fit for today's fast-paced style of play. While he might need to adjust his game slightly to fit the modern emphasis on shooting, his impact would still be undeniable. Dr. J paved the way for so many of today's stars, and his influence on the game will always be felt. But what do you guys think? Could Dr. J be an MVP caliber player in today's NBA, or would he need to make even bigger adjustments that might leave him short? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more upcoming videos and NBA content. My name is Damian Peters. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.